Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to SUP episode 82. Can you believe it? 82 weeks in a row of the SUP, folks. We don't stop, we keep moving, we keep making it happen. Welcome to CEO Josh once again. Josh, great to have you on the show. We've got a big one today. I know it's late for you. Thanks for making the time.
Always good to be here. It's a lot going on and really, really busy, but it's exciting.
It is. It's a lot going on. It's exciting. It's nerve-wracking. It's challenging. Quick shout out to everybody in the community. If you are watching on X, there has been an issue, a bug in the Restream connection. It's not our side, it's Restream side. Unfortunately, X is no longer chatting. So you can't get in the chat on X. If you're watching on X, no problem, stay watching on X. I'm gonna monitor the comments and the replies on X. So if you have any comments and you're watching on X, just keep going, I'll look at those. But if you wanna have direct access to the chat on the screen, then hit us up on YouTube. Go over to YouTube, and that's where you can participate in the chat, and we will make those available. Whole bunch of people already watching. Josera says, Supra, future of the word. I guess you mean the world, right? We've got space interesting. Gregor, what's up, Gregor? Good to have you. He says this. Gregor says, Supra must take off now. Look, I think everybody agrees. We get it. We understand. Supra must take off now.
Your wish is my command. I wish I could do this right now.
Exactly. We all do, man.
Working on it, guys. Working on it.
Joel says sup. We've got Pravash says we believe in you, Josh, which is very, very cool. Hey, we've got AI Gardens Judd watching. Morning, James, hey, Josh, Judd. And everyone. Morning to you, sir. Can't believe you're watching 4 past 5 in the morning for Judd. What's up, brother? The main man of AI Garden. A lot of you on YouTube at the moment. This is epic. Wans, what's up, Wans? Pravash, I don't know what you mean by this. He says, Josh, please take my name. Do you want a job or something? I'm not quite sure. And yeah, so I'll keep the chat coming through in the comments. But Josh, there is a lot to get through. What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with questions from the audience, or do you want to get stuck into where you are, or straight into SupraOS?
Well, let's start with the, whoops, my mic is moving here. I had to change the computer because the other one was working too slow. Yeah, so let's get started with, let's do Web of Trust. And let's just do it all. And we can also talk about mainnet upgrades going through real soon.
All right. There is a question that's come through from Muscle, which is, I know that you guys have been crazy busy, but this is a fair question, Josh. How is John doing? Have you do you speak with John on a regular basis? Is it a once a week thing? As your co-founder, how is John doing? People want to know.
Oh yeah, we do hours every day. It's a lot to cover. Let's put it that way. So it's a lot of triage. A lot of one fire out and the next one. I'm being completely brutally honest because it's there's no hiding anything. It's just straight up, constantly, probably averaging 4 hours a day on phone, on different meetings and calls. Yeah, it stacks up fast.
All right. So he's around. He's busy. Is he in Taiwan or is he in the US? Because I know you're on your way to the US as well.
Yeah, no, he's stateside, and he's been there for about a month, I guess. And I'll be in San Francisco, LA, New York, that region, in the next 10 days.
Okay. All right. So you're on your way to the US. There was another question. This one will get things going nicely. What updates can you provide for us from Pravash, Supra EVM and Reverse Bridge? What's the latest?
Well, basically, they're about to be on the full Reverse Bridge. The full layer 1 to layer 1 bridge is about to be on mainnet any day. Now, even after it's on mainnet, we're not going to let you guys know. We're going to let it soak there, sit there for a bit. We'll monitor it. A few days later, we'll say, hey, guys, it's coming soon. And then we'll say it's live. But it's probably been live for a couple of days by then. So it's close. We have to let's just put it this way. This is not a time to mess around, with bridges and stuff, especially it's like the honeypot. So this is why we designed a bridge to be layer 1 security. It is a layer 1, and it communicates and computes the cryptography of the other layer 1. So we're excited about that part. But yeah, no, it's just, look, if our engineers say we need to spend another kind of a couple rounds to re-audit or recheck things, I'm going to give it to them because this is mainnet. You know what I mean? So it's very, very, high stakes. So yeah, but let's put it this way. It'll be on mainnet. You guys won't even know about it. And then we'll tell you it's on mainnet, but it's been on mainnet for a couple of days by then. So soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what, okay, how about this one? This is a tough one. But I'm going to throw it out anyway, because I know you're not afraid of the tough questions. And I know obviously there are things that we can't say. And just reiteration for everybody, obviously none of what we say here is financial advice. So this is not financial advice, NFA, and please do your own research, okay? So that's really important. But Honest Bharat just has this question: what is the message that you have for investors?
Yeah, I would say that what we have going on at Supra is really unique, in a couple of ways. Of course, the technology. It's, to be completely honest, we all know that this is probably worth more, not financial advice. It should be worth a lot more, in my opinion, for the innovations we have, and then stacking them together that enable new things is really special. The market completely rejected it, and that's fine. And that's probably mostly because, I'm not saying the market's wrong. Let's put it that way. Okay, this is my belief. I'm 100%, like, this is my conviction and belief that they're 100% wrong on this. You know what I mean? And that's fine. It's our job to just keep on going. And yes, it sucked, and there's no doubt about it that things could have been done better. But it goes by fast. It happens fast. Like the bear market from, our peak to it was like a year, and it was just happening in a year. Like we just launched. And but the thing that we have, okay, other than the tech, we do have products and services launching. But beyond that, I would say I'm really grateful for most of the team that's still at Supra. Everyone has been grinding. Everyone understands that it's a grind. It's not going to be a stable, reliable kind of situation right now. And that's not what I want to have. I want to have stability. I like stability, right? So I really appreciate that they are kind of largely missionaries. A lot of uncertainty with Supra, but they're still pushing through, shipping code. So that's what I want to say, that I have established. We have put together a world-class team that are not just mercenary. Let's put it that way. We're working through all kinds of delays and challenges, and still pushing through. And it's because we know what the protocols are. We know that this is really game-changing tech. So I want to say thank you to our team, and our team is also award-winning. We've gotten great accolades in computer science. We're diverse. We do blockchain distributed compute, but also recently AI memory and kind of identity systems. So it's very, very advanced stuff, actually. And yeah, I'll just say that we can do it without them. And man, I feel so grateful to have folks be able to kind of bite the bullet. They're truly entrepreneurial. Like the founding team, they are truly entrepreneurial because they're taking the risk. Yeah. So the message to investors is that I think this is completely mispriced, but of course, this is my opinion. We love what we're doing. We have great ideas, and we're executing upon it, and we're shipping products and services and dApps and exchanges, whatever. Right? We're building it. And it's all going mainnet. Everything's very close. It's going to be the most exciting period, I think, for us in a positive manner since token generation event in the next 3 months. This is my belief.
Awesome. I mean, I have seen that. I've seen the work in the recent weeks. I do want to ask you this from a personal standpoint, we didn't actually chat about this before we went live. Are you allowed to touch on the CSO position, or is that not finalized yet to make that kind of announcement?
I think that gentleman can make the announcement officially
Okay.
in a few days. It would be great to have him on the SUP maybe next week, right? Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's a very, very diplomatic response, and we appreciate that. And we shall be looking at the various feeds to see what the story is. I'm not going to put this one on the screen, but Josh, what can you say about SupraLiquid? Obviously, people did invest in SupraLiquid, and they just want to know what is going to happen to their allocation there.
Yeah, so I'll put it this way. SupraLiquid as a perp dex, right, is it's roughly 90% done. Okay. And this is an application, but it's also the micro chain, the kind of what we call super chain containers. You can think of it as like a subnet, right? So it's super fast, like 30 blocks per second, right? And this is basically Web 2 speeds. It's this technique that Hyperliquid does with co-location of nodes. But I do truly believe our consensus algorithms, our kind of fundamental algorithms, Oracle, et cetera, they're actually way more advanced. That's why there's going to be really kind of interesting. I think we can have a comparable product. So the thing is, there's more than just smart contract development that has to go into this. Okay, so there's how do I say this? We have to work with parties and institutions and market makers to join it to create the market in the first place. We're at that stage of the conversations, let's put it that way. And remember, PerpDex in SupraLiquid and Playbook, right? They're merging. They're going to have AutoVault social finance, with a PerpDex. And what's interesting about that? Why is that powerful? It's powerful because with an AutoVault's product, which is Playbook, okay, you put funds in, it ingests like a smart contract engine, and signals or data comes in, and that triggers the automation to do things in a cross-chain setting. I know it's a mouthful, but basically it's real cross-chain DeFi for the first time ever to do this properly. And it's because along the way, Supra's vertically integrated stack, layer 1, smart contract automation, cross-chain communication, right? We're able to use the kind of layer 1 security principles consensus, the core layer 1's consensus, to power all of those services. So it's completely non-custodial. And at the same time, we can move assets and control assets in real time on multiple chains, starting with Ethereum, right? So this is a multi-chain product, let's put it that way. And the interesting thing is that's like on-chain products, like tokens and gas tokens, meme coins, whatever it is, right? NFTs even. That's Web3 Rails. Now, with the PerpDex, you get exposure just through having the data feed, right? We have 700 data feeds. Through each data feed can be a market, right? So we have that. And what you can do now in your AutoVault is get exposure to crypto assets on-chain, self-custody, but also exposure to real-world assets. It could be commodities, it could be oil, gold, it could be the AI stocks, it could be memory stocks, whatever it is. All you need is make sure we have the data feed. It can be, yeah, you got the data. It's anything, And as we all know in our industry, while I don't really trade with leverage ever. I don't really trade that much. I'm a very long-term holder, right? And I don't have time for that. But I'll say that some people like leverage, so that's why an AutoVault's product with a PerpDex could be interesting. To summarize it, it's interesting because you can have, hey, here's my strategy. This is my portfolio allocation. I believe that these gas tokens, utility tokens, these layer 1 tokens are important. I want a basket of those. Also, I want to have exposure to, Micron and not financial advice, by the way, all the other AI stocks, right? And you usually can't do that on chain unless it's tokenized, right? But you can get exposure through a perpetual. So now all of a sudden you're kind of balancing your portfolio on multiple strategies. What is the purpose of Playbook? It is to max out ROI, you know. So and people can pull funds in through vaults. So I'm excited about this one. So yeah, they're kind of they're pushed forward together. Playbook requires a lot of smart contract work on every chain we interact with. So that is pretty, it's a lot of work. And it's also the UI and the, just a lot of integrations, what are called adapters, like connecting to Uniswap or Aave or whatever it might be. Remember, what's happening here is you deposit Ether stablecoins on Ethereum into a vault using Ethereum DeFi, but Playbook is kind of the brain. It is the thing that triggers it all automatically based off of market signals and data. So it's going to open up Supra to even just people that are completely native to Ethereum, because they don't have to move their assets to Supra or into Playbook to have exposure to this. They could deposit in the Ethereum vault on Ethereum, but that vault is controlled by, the Supra tech behind the scenes. So it's really interesting stuff. It's really advanced. It is the most advanced Web3 work I've seen in basically 9 years. I've been in the industry almost 9 years, actually. Yeah, and what an experience, Web3.
It's wild. Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, from being on the inside, I see how much you took on. So it's a lot, now you're trying to deal with Supra EVM, reverse bridge, and of course there's Supra Liquid. Now there's SupraOS. You saw an opportunity in the AI industry, and the opportunity is a massive one. But of course, that's the trouble with Web3. You now have a whole bunch of, investors who are going, hey, don't forget about us. There are people saying, and I'm not going to bring it up, I do want to say this, there was someone who was quite negative. I'm going to say Electric Oasis. I'm going to block you if you don't calm down. All right. I'm not going to block you now because I think there's, I'm going to give you one warning. So I'm going to block you if you don't calm down. All right. So just tone it down. If you don't, you will get blocked. The last thing on Supra Liquid, Josh, and I know this is not what we want to talk about, but I think it's really, really helpful to respond to the community like this. Some people have said that if you didn't hit your targets of Supra Liquid within a certain period of time, you would refund us. Some people are saying, can we say Q4? Can we see Supra Liquid live by Q4? If not, will you refund us? What's your response to that? I'm just responding and passing on what the community are asking.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, whatever was promised, we can do. So if you want a refund, I think we have to just look at the terms and conditions. But I'm pretty sure we can replace it really quickly. So let's put it that way. Happy to do it almost. You know what I mean? There's that aspect by Q4. I mean. Yes, October.
It's only halfway through the year.
Yeah, I mean we're close, guys. I mean, what can I say? It's still, remember this, right? This is one thing that I think will help you feel better. We've also had to cut our burn by like 80% plus. Yeah. So that means the team is smaller, and we had all these fires to put out. So we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot with what we have. That's what I want to say. Now, this probably would have all been done if we didn't have such violent, tumultuous market. If we had the team, the resources, so on and so forth that we had during the Super Liquid crowdfund, the answer would be probably would have been shipped by now. It's just, but we had to downsize a lot. It was just no choice. Yeah. So yeah, I would say Q4 for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't see any reason why not.
No, that's fair. And like I say, we're halfway through the year, so there you go. And I think it's good for you, Josh, to hop on the SUP, see the comments. these are the comments that I have to deal with every show. So
Oh,
it's
I see this stuff too. I see this stuff all the time
I mean,
also
yeah,
in the
you see it in
Telegram
the
chat.
CEO Telegram chat. You see it on X, so I know. Just a response to fan, no, it's not a leak. I literally it's so freaking cold in South Africa at the moment. Go and Google South Africa snow right now.
Wow.
There is
Wow.
literally snow around us. It's insane. And
Wow.
I just didn't get a chance to put my Supra shirt on. So it's not an alpha leak, fan. Okay. Pavel, you said the EVM part of the first question was ignored.
Oh, I can answer that. Yeah, EVM is after that. It's a matter of time after that. I hesitate to say specifically how many weeks, but it's weeks, perhaps. It's being worked on. It's the next thing. So full bridge first, then EVM right after that as soon as possible. Yeah.
And last community question before we get into SupraOS, because I think that is really important. I really want to dig into that. Is Electric Oasis did tone down. They just want to know, and I think it's a fair question for you, Josh, because obviously I, as the touch point between the community and the team, often get XDMs. I get Telegram DMs saying, "Hey James, I need this. What about this? What about that?" I go to the team. I'm not sure who to go to or where to go to. What can you say to someone like Electric if they are saying, "Okay, I'm going to apply for a refund"? How would you suggest they do that?
Let's look. I'll tell you what. I'll have the team look at the terms and conditions and what we agreed on, and we'll just try to honor that. Hopefully this doesn't become like a major administrative burden for us because we have other things that are really important to do, and this is very close. So we'll figure it out. Maybe we have to look at the paperwork is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I've been really deep in product and services that I'm not even really clear exactly what the terms are, but we can find out very soon. So we'll just try to do it by that.
Okay. No, that's fair. I just wanted to check if you had an idea in mind. Totally fair. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave Super Liquid. We've covered it. Anu, thank you so much for your heart. We appreciate that.
I'm going to grab a Red Bull. 1 second.
Grab yourself a Red Bull. I'm going to keep going through the comments. The Pi 80 is asking about SupraOS. How do I get an invite? Well, we're going to get into that very, very shortly. Supra Diamond Hands, indeed, sir. And yeah, I think we're going to leave it at that for community questions. Let's go into everything that you wanted to chat about today. Josh, SupraOS is really, really looking good. I did get a question saying, how do I join SupraOS? I'm not sure if you want to touch on that or go into that, or if you'd rather unfold exactly what the plan is and where SupraOS stands right now.
Sure. So this is really interesting. Let me share my screen. Oh no, I have to. This is a new computer. Okay. I have to adjust the settings.
Just a reminder to everybody, if you're watching on X, unfortunately, the Restream and X link is broken on Restream side. So every single streamer in the world that uses Restream to X is having trouble with chat in particular. A couple of streaming issues, but primarily chat. If you're trying to chat in X, it's not going to come to us. We can't see it. So if you want to chat to us, go over to the YouTube channel and chat to us there. And then the second thing is, I did want to say to everybody watching, if you're noticing that Josh's camera picture is better, his internet connection feels better, that's a computer thing, by the way. He has switched over to his secondary computer, which is providing us with a clearer stream. So that is why he is coming across clearer, but also why he's not familiar with exactly how the screen sharing is working. So once he sorts that out, we'll get it on the screen for you.
It looks like I have to hop off and jump. I'll jump back on. Give me a minute, okay?
We shall wait for you. We shall wait for you. All right. While we wait for Josh, let's go through. Fan, big love to you, my friend. Buy more Supra. Thank you, my friend. Big love to you. Gregor is asking about price, obviously NFA and DYOR. we do understand, Gregor, that it is a situation whereby it is chasing away potential new investors. So, we are we're doing our best. We're doing our best as a team. So just hang in there. Electric Oasis, paid bots and shillers. No, my friend, these are people that just believe in the project. So there you go. Aces, thanks, James. It is a pleasure, my friend. It is an absolute pleasure. Pravash, I'm not going to throw that question over to Josh anymore. We're going to get stuck into SupraOS. Zorg, thank you so much. Please block Electric Oasis. He's just spamming the chat and disrupting the discussion. So Electric Oasis is not just me. The community are asking the same thing. So please be aware. Right. I think there we go. Here we go. Massive respect. Thank you. Josh, just want to say, while you sort out your screen, the Electric Oasis does say massive respect for asking and responding to those questions. So that's very cool. 90s Child is watching from 90s Child is watching from Australia. Sup to you. Fan is asking about some of the dodgy comments. I agree with you, Fan. And let's have a look. All right, so still looks like X is a challenge. Cryptogram TV. Hello, sir. I'm going to find you on YouTube. He says, oh man, finally here. Good to have you. All right, Josh's screen is ready to go. Let's jump in. Josh, this is something that I am really excited to see and find out more about. Web of Trust. This whole Web of Trust thing is really interesting when it comes to AI and AI agents. What is the deal with this Web of Trust?
I guess I want to start with, it's kind of ironic that we're coming out with Web of Trust white paper when our trust is like all-time low. You know what I mean? It's been, like tokens all-time low. The things I can say is that we have been shipping this whole time, still continuing to move the mantle forward in terms of innovating in Web3 technologies, despite the challenges, put it that way. So this is something that has been in the back of my mind and our mind for some time. Decentralized identity, is actually really why is there billions of dollars poured into it, right? It's because it's a hard problem to solve, but also if you can solve it, then it creates huge opportunities. Massive things can be done differently in Web3. Now, for example, if you really think about it, we don't really care like who the person is. We just want to know we can trust them, right? I don't care what you look like. I don't even need to know your name, right? As long as I can see like, okay, there's a lot of trust here. And if we could do that, still be pseudo-anonymous, but also have a very reliable metric to know how to engage with certain folks, you can build a social graph based off of trust, and that can unlock a lot of things. The things it can unlock include like things like under collateralized lending. Okay, that's like the main big thing that could be powerful in DeFi, where right now if you want to borrow, you have to like super over collateralize it, right? And but if you could build an on-chain reputation, it's almost like a decentralized credit score. And a lot of concerns might be like, oh my God, they're going to make a social score. Actually, what's interesting about this is this is on-chain activity that immediately in a block, because our blocks are so fast, you don't necessarily like build out the graph in every single block. It's just every single transaction is on a blockchain, which means it's decentralized, it's immutable, you cannot change it, which means that you can actually create different scoring mechanisms. Now we have something that we're going to call trust rank. What we do is we, basically scan the super blockchain for these kind of transactions. These are not transactions per se, they're signatures, like who signed who allowed someone in, right? And it starts with the core kind of root, which will be me and our team. And beyond that, it will start to become completely, I won't know who the third person is, but I will trust that the second person, the person I brought in, is going to bring in someone that they trust, because if that third person misbehaves, the second person gets hit. I also take a little bit of a hit as well in my reputation score. So we're kind of in this together. Like we kind of rely on, we're vouching for each other. Okay. And what is interesting is actually, in society in the medieval times, right? They would have, artisans. They would have these, various kind of trades, and you'd have a master and apprentice kind of setup, and if like that is basically vouching for the apprentice, so to speak, right? And putting your reputation against that apprentice to bring them into that kind of that circle. It's a similar concept, and what's really remarkable about this is all that the vouching really is I invite you, you sign, I sign, right? So we sign each other, we create an on-chain bond. This is cryptography, you can't break this. Don't worry about the quantum stuff. There's post-quantum cryptography out there. We'll get there as our next kind of major emergency. Let's deal with what's on our plate today. Okay, but why it's so elegant? It's elegant because all you're doing is I'm vouching for you, I sign for you, you sign for me. We both signed it, so we both agreed, and it's on chain forever. Now we're interlinked though. Now your reputations, if you do something wrong or whatever, it affects me directly. So I have to be very careful of who I let in, right? And that's basically the high level. There's a lot to this beyond this in terms of like how to come in, how do you do accountability? Why is this approach better than like WorldCoin's Orb, and so on and so forth. There's more here. You can just take this, SupraOS.ai/web of trust and just have AI kind of digest it for you. We also have a shorter version and then a one-sheeter. And we try to make this as simple as possible, but it's a technical paper. I mean, we have like the trust rank, the algorithm calculation. It's very kind of, honestly, it's elegant, and who knows if it's going to work, but it should work. But this is going to be a major kind of social experience, right? An experiment. But if it works, it basically create your like a club, and that means if you have clubs, you can have club perks. You can have member only perks. Like in this case, the first thing that you're going to get, and the only way to get SupraOS is to participate in our web of trust. So you have to be invited into the network. And once you're invited in, you have to get enough other people to vouch for you, right? Because they're tying themselves to you. So if you mess up, you affect many other people. So they're going to be very careful who they vouch for, right? And we can build a really kind of clean and professional network this way. And, what do you get in exchange? More tangibly in exchange immediately is you'll get access to SupraOS, okay? And, like we're not going to just let anyone just access SupraOS just like that. It's actually really potentially powerful software. I come from a background of making software for doctors, I don't know if you guys know this, it was called wholesome.io. So I did poker first and then did a bunch of small things, worked in New York City, working in San Francisco, and in SF, we had Wholesome, which is a website builder, scheduler, intake form, and kind of like outtake, patient management and billing, for health professionals, health coaches, and doctors. So when I see what AI can do, I'm like, with that background, I'm like, oh my God, we can totally like, rebuild anything. You can build a practice online really easily. SupraOS is going to help you do that. You could do that. You could do just DeFi dashboards. It's very flexible. It's really interesting. We're going to give great software to people that join Supra's Web of Trust. You're going to get access to SupraOS. It's invite only. So, don't bother me for it. I'm not going to give it to you unless I actually know you really well, like in person and everything about you. I'm not going to be giving them out freely. And future updates for SupraOS will go to folks that are part of this, so we can continue to develop really quickly new modules, new capabilities, etc. So let me jump into kind of SupraOS. I have here. So this is kind of the identity reputation.
Can I jump in real quick if you don't mind, Josh?
Yeah.
I just have a question from Zorg, who is following along really carefully, and he wants to know what happens when different trust clusters develop very different standards for who they consider trustworthy.
So the interesting thing about this protocol is so basic, right? This is why it works, in my opinion. This is why it's extremely scalable. The protocol is, I vouch for you, you vouch for me, we sign, we're bonded. Now that's it. So what's interesting is we have our own trust rank algorithm calculation methodology. We look at like your activity, who you're connected with, which kind of protocols you're doing X, Y, and Z on, whatever. Like, because it's all blockchain information, anyways, right? So we have like a method to kind of look into your on-chain activity that's bonded to this. We don't need to know your name. We don't need to no KYC directly. There's no KYC actually, but through your on-chain activities, we can start to identify if you're a real like a good actor in the system. This could be, by the way, your AI agents that are bonded to you. And so now your AI agents are kind of inheriting some of your reputation. And then they can, like you're also tied to their behavior as well, right? So if they screw up, then it's going to hurt you directly. So it's very versatile. Now, what I'm trying to get at is with such a simple primitive, it was always in front of us, by the way, guys. It was always in front of us. Just I sign for you, you sign for me, that's it. And you can actually create any scoring mechanism. You could say, hey, I'm not actually interested in anyone, for example, that don't ask me why, but like maybe like this is not relevant for any NFT trades. Okay, just saying hypothetically, or I don't need any. Like this rating is meant to exclude this or that venue. You can create your own calculation methodology. It's still the graph. We have a universal singular blockchain graph. It's just there. What you overlay on it to calculate to create your own mechanism is up to you. So, but yeah, what we're going to do is create trust rank, which will become, we say it's a reference formula. Okay. This is like a baseline that we think is very powerful. It's probably very reliable, but you can take this formula and adjust it for your own needs. If you got people that want to follow your version of the trust scoring mechanism for whatever it is, maybe you are only looking for people that have done only NFT or more NFT trading, you want to score them higher, right? And you want to find those folks. There's ways to create different kind of calculations and scores that you want as well, because the underlying graph is the same for all of us, right? So that's the really cool part about this. I don't know if that makes sense, but either way, take a look at the paper, use AI, just ask it. It'll probably tell you what I just said. Okay, so
follow-up. Yeah. Okay, do you want to continue? Because I did have a follow-up, but if you want, we can take user questions later.
Yeah, let me just kind of continue through the product, just kind of walk you guys through this. So, by the way, you're all going to see many OSs, interfaces, builders. That's fine. We're doing it too. We think we have a really awesome approach here. But what we bring to the table is a really different angle. One is the memory recall system, the supercognition, that is built into your SupraOS. You'll get it built in for free, right? The identity system, that I just described, the web of trust, it's already it's mostly implemented already, by the way. So you're going to be getting this, and this is how you'll get SupraOS, is through this kind of platform. There's a lot of bells and whistles here that are beyond what you would expect from just an AI dashboard. There's a lot of things like, for example, okay, this is pretty cool. So, for example, we've all heard of OpenClaw, right? And then we heard of Hermes agents, right? And Hermes had, what do you call it? Self-evolving skills or self-learning skills. That was like a really interesting kind of hook for folks. We do the same thing. We have skill evolution, but in SupraOS system, because we're all connected to each other, we're building this web of trust, right? Without revealing any personal identifiable information. We can do collective learning, meaning if we have 100 people, we can evolve our skills much faster than a single person can do on their own, right? So we have skills evolution, and it's very kind of scientific the way we do this. It's called GEPA, GEPA. It stands for genetic Pareto, and what this means is basically we kind of evolve and identify what is the version that performs the best, and that becomes a standard for everyone, right? So we actually do kind of testing automatically, periodically, every 6 hours, whatever it is, and then we identify the highest performing version. And moreover, we have something called ACE, is agent context engineering. Basically what that means is, and we do this collectively, how do we combine to find the best evolution of the skill? And what is the bulletin board or a discussion or the things that we need to learn about executing the skill that we all learned together? Basically, we get to evolve it together and share the benefit of the better skill to, the quality is improved, and you get this as a collective. So it should be on the order of maybe 20 times faster to improve skills than a single Hermes could ever do it, right? So that's the kind of like meta stuff, like the really kind of cool computer science stuff here that you can't get out of the box. OpenClaw doesn't do this. Hermes Agent kind of does it, but not really. You need to have a network of folks that can work with each other. So the Web of Trust as the means to get into SupraOS is like the key way to do it. You can turn this off, by the way. You don't have to participate. But I think we're going to set it up. If you don't participate, you don't get the upgrade. Something like that. We'll see. But step by step, there's many small things that we can do together to improve the system. To just to make it more interesting. Now let's take a look at here. Everyone's going to want to have a dashboard. I think we've gone through this. It's basically like a Wix, but with everything's just a widget. Customized applications. What a beautiful score. I mean, price. It's ridiculous. Okay, but then we have these are like widgets that connect to databases and automations and cron jobs, and you can basically get your dashboard to say, okay, I want the morning news, and you can configure this to your heart's content. And you can even like click on this and just use AI or voice to change the modules of the widgets, right? So it's really kind of powerful because you can have unlimited dashboards. You can set it up for, this is what I want, this is what I want to know, and how, you can set this up. You can do portfolio management, of course, real news, and video and such. I was having some issue with the video earlier today. Let's see. Well, anyhow, so you can customize this dashboard to your heart's content, right? You can completely change it. You can change the interface to different themes. You can create your own themes. You can own it, right? That's a cool point. It's like the whole thing is yours, right? And how are you going to actually make some changes to it? So let me kind of briefly kind of summarize some things. We talked about the way to get into SupraOS is basically through the Web of Trust, okay? There is some things here, as you can see, called the personal chain. You yourself, as your own little block, you have your own blockchain, okay? So you have your wallet connected. You have your own kind of one second here.
When you say your own blockchain, is that the technology involved in that? Is that the Supra containers technology that allows for each user to, in essence, have their own blockchain? What do you mean by that?
Well, so what we do is, let me kind of turn on this module. This is a new account. What we do is you yourself have a local hash chain. It's basically a blockchain just for yourself. Okay. And why? It's because, so what we're tracking are like every single action, every token spend, every bot execution, every workflow execution, every login, every action, every reasoning by your agents. You have full transparency into a chain of events that if someone or somehow one thing got changed, you can know that it's not verifying. And so you have basically a local hash chain, and this is part of ultimately what we call AI governance, right? So this is a key component of it. And what you'll do is periodically, you'll send your AI agents hash chains, your local tip of your chain, you'll submit it to Supra as an anchor point, just not the whole database, just a hash, okay? So now you can always have like, this is exactly the state of my condition or situation at that time. And then what you can do is maybe you had some sort of execution of a workflow or some document or some activity that you wanted to prove. This is what it said at that time. You can do this because the system, you've anchored your local hash chain to the Supra blockchain. You can submit what's called a Merkle proof to show that, hey, look, this actually was exactly true at this time, and you can prove this. So there's by the way, it's called selective disclosure because you're not revealing anything, but if you wanted to, you can prove that this is correct. Like here's a hash, here's a Merkle proof, here's the document or the content or the information, and the hashes match, and this is the timestamp. Everyone has to believe that is correct. This is a very interesting verifiability thing. You can, of course, manage all kinds of agents. You can have, you have a bunch of built-in agents. That's fine. This is pretty standard stuff. Everyone's going to have these type of things. We can track their identity, their personality, every activity. Anytime they wrote to the memory system, you can actually click into it and see who wrote this memory, where was it created, at what time, what did they say, etc. Right? So here's the memory itself. So why is this interesting? This is interesting because as you speak to your agents, okay, their agents have to pull from your memory system. And we have a world-class supercognition memory system scoring among the hardest tests, the highest on the hardest tests in the world. And you're getting this built into the SupraOS. Your agents have to check the memory system, okay, to see before they answer you, okay? They have to, they do this because what's called it grounds the agent's memory. And it basically mitigates hallucination. So here, in this response, in this chat here, okay, this agent pulled up these memories. Here's one in particular that it relied on. I've clicked on it to see what it was, and it brought me here, right? And this is okay, so this is where the memory was created, right? So this is really, it comes down to AI governance, but also making AI hallucinate less. This is the type of technology, by the way, that is going to be very useful for enterprise. Yeah. Enterprise does not want to have hallucinations. They want to have pristine recall. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. The only way to get into it, as you can see, we have different themes, and you can change it to whatever you want. Dark mode, dark mode. Oops. There's it's a work in progress, but I can't wait till the community starts to make their own interfaces, right? So kind of jumping into the next component about this, let me actually see if I can log into this here.
While you do so, I'm going to quickly jump in with a fairly-ish basic question. Comes from Nate Tronick of Synthwave Labs. Could the WOT be optional? What about creating multiple trust models to select from?
You can create any trust model you want. Remember, we're creating a graph. I vouch for you, you vouch for me. You vouch for him, he vouches for her. There's a graph, there's a connection, right? Even though I don't know who those people are after a certain level of referrals deep. So it's just an on-chain graph, which means that you can have any scoring model you want. That's really cool part about it, by the way. Yeah. So just give me a second here. I'm gonna maybe stop sharing my screen for a second. But yeah, the what do you call it? The only way right now, I think the only way that we want people to get into SupraOS is to get invited into it. Remember, we don't collect any personal identifiable information. We don't need your name. We don't need to see. We don't need to see it. We don't need to know it. We just need to know that you got into the club through someone that we trust. So the first set of folks that we bring into Supra Web of Trust, they're going to be only people I super deeply trust, right? And then I trust that they will also, knowing how the protocol works, that they will also be very careful of who they bring in. But I will, yeah. So long story short, you're going to get access. The software that we're building here is worth tens of thousands of dollars, basically. So if you want to get in, you got to be a good actor. And once again, we don't need a KYC or know anything about you per se, right? But we know that you got in through getting enough people to vouch for you. So you must be really solid. You must be a good person. You must be whatever it is. So anyways, let's see. I mean, this is it has a potential to really change the world. I mean, because it's so simple. That's what's really great about these things, are that like a protocol and primitive that's really simple, has scalability, right? And then we have this. So let me kind of share my screen again. Since I'm on a new computer.
I want to share your screen, but I'm going to ask this one from the Pi 80. The Pi 80 wants to know, how can I enter SupraOS? How do I get an invite?
You got to find someone that's got already in it. That's the only way.
Okay, so that is the original alpha group that was released a couple of weeks ago. People signed up via the email list. They're in a separate Telegram chat, and those alpha members get invite links. Is that correct?
Yes, I mean, I'm going to vet them. I'm going to be very careful about this, but it's rolling out very soon. And then you'll have to get it from someone that's already in the network. They have to, now how can you start to gain and get a visibility, start to do things that are good for the Supra network? And I'm sure at some point you'll get to know someone that was going to be willing to bring you in. So let me share my screen here. This is, I think some of you folks have seen this already. This is the SupraOS building tool, okay? This is like this is a new build, so I don't have any projects in it. You can't see the kind of interface fully, but this is the agent orchestration platform, okay? I'm seriously giving folks SupraOS that get into the Web of Trust, they're gonna get this stuff, and I'm gonna teach you how to use it. It is awesome. It's really, really powerful stuff, guys, where we can do, basically, we can be really efficient with building. We have different, what are called, basically, if you heard the word harness engineering, I didn't realize I was doing it. I was just naturally what I was building. It's like, what you can do though is build any kind of rules for your agents to behave. You can, your SupraOS dashboard, you can completely change it to whatever you want using this tool. We'll make it super easy to manage everything. So completely maximally flexible. And remember, we're in this new era of AI coding. So they have something called ephemeral code, meaning ephemeral software. You build it for the use case, for the time. You don't even care about like, oh, this isn't like precious anymore. Software is like, really almost everything can be copied within a week or two, right? So that's not a moat. What is a moat is a web of trust system. It is your, hashing, blockchain verification, and agent kind of collective skills learning together. These can become moats. Basically, the strategy here is come for the tool and stay for the network, right? So what we're doing here is we're trying to make this as simple as possible, for you to be able to manage your projects end to end. And what I'm doing is I'm putting into this system best practices that, as I learn it, and also what I've learned from vibe coding suprafx.ai, building it in on-chain DEX and blockchain using vibe coding. Along the way, you learn a lot of things, and I'm putting all those learnings into this tool. So it's meant to be basically high school level. If you're in high school, you should be able to understand how this works. We'll do, as part of Supra's OS Web of Trust, you'll get access to training. You'll get access to really cool stuff. So yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, I actually have to go right now, but James, maybe a couple of questions real quick here, and then I have to hop. I can't hear you.
My apologies, microphone was muted. So there were a couple of questions again around how to get in, but Natronic had a couple. I'm going to go back to this one. He wants to know what prevents one compromised, trusted participant from introducing thousands of malicious agents.
What you're going to want to do is ask that question to AI. I think I've asked you to do that yesterday, bro. Because the answers, it's all in the paper, but if the paper is very long and scientific, ask AI that question. It'll answer you. It'll give you a good response.
Next question comes through, again from Natronic. And guys, if you have questions, drop them in the YouTube. I did see one X question come through from Crypto Bro. Crypto Bro just said sup. But if you are an X, let us know, because there were some issues with Restream and X today. So we're taking questions from YouTube today. But Josh, if you can answer this one from Natronic, he wants to know, are there going to be rewards for quality memory contributions?
Okay, so one thing we could also do at Supra, if we have a web of trust and we have a lot of users of SupraOS, we can be contributing to a global verifiable memory layer. Okay, this is possible. That's an awesome idea. I want to do it. However, is one thing first. Let's get a lot of adoption of the tool. If we get mass adoption of the tool, then we can actually feasibly do that. In terms of will there be rewards? Okay, we're not really interested in just giving out super token just like that. It doesn't work, like, or at least not in our current condition. But okay, let's see this. Okay, let me just describe the verifiable memory layer. This is like phase 3. We're on phase 1 still, guys. Layer 1, infrastructure, vertical integration. That's still the layer 1 stuff. I didn't mean like layer 3, like layer 2, layer 3. I didn't mean that. Like phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is the infra. It's the dApps, the application. Phase 2 is get mass adoption. Phase 3 is we can roll out these type of global scale systems. Now, if you contribute to, let me explain what this even means. Like, why would you even have this use case? AI has what's called a training cutoff date, right? This is why you can run these local models without the internet, because they're trained, the weights are trained, and there's a cutoff date. That means it doesn't know what happened after that cutoff date. AI has an Oracle problem, right? So how do you kind of, if something happened after the training cutoff date, what do they have to do? They have to do some web search. So they have to do some web search. They had to do but like you can't just trust all the kind of individual web searches, right? Directly. You have to look at more than one site. You have to have some sort of trust score, right? So the answer is, if you did contribute to a verifiable memory, because right now there is cost associated to scan multiple websites, it takes sometimes tens of seconds depending on what you're doing, and it can take thousands of tokens to process and distill. Okay, now if let's say that we had the World Cup happened after all the AI models have been trained, so it doesn't know any details of the World Cup. And then you ask some question like, what were the highlights about this game, between this game and that team, or what was the highlights across X, Y, and Z? That might take a little bit to process because it's not just one answer. It's kind of an opinionated thing. It might be, but suppose like James asked the same question or something similar to it yesterday, and I came and did the same thing. The baseline would be James spends thousands of tokens in AI credits, tokens, and also waits maybe tens of seconds to get an answer. And I do the same thing to get this. We end up with the same answer, So why should we recompute it again and again and again if there's going to be 10,000 people that ask the same question? So what we can do is we can save 10,000 people tens of seconds and also AI token spend if we anchored it once as a good outcome and just onto like the verifiable memory layer, just a blockchain. You just register the timestamp, how it got into, it follows the protocol, how do you get into the blockchain? We don't store the data on the blockchain. There's no point to do that. You want to keep the blockchain very thin, very fast, very efficient. The data can be stored anywhere. The bottom line is you can pull up the data, you can see, oh, the hash matches. This is what was reported exactly at that time, right? Now, so basically what everyone can share, everyone can save tens of seconds each and thousands of tokens each, right? Because the web cost of a web search is like, let's call it roughly 1 penny, okay, per like memory lookup. What we can do is say, hey, look, we're going to save you 10 seconds and we're going to charge you a lot less. So you can just surf to your heart's content. It's affordable, and you'll get the same quality of information you're looking for. What we could do is say, like, we want to take 30% of that, so it would cost you 1 cent and 10 seconds, or you can get it in less than 1 second and 70% cheaper. People would probably choose that if they could, right? And people will start to get really conscious about memory. So the people that created the memory, that participated in kind of promoting it through the global protocol, they can own that memory. So everyone that looks that up, they can get revenue share on that. So things like this are possible with micropayments, and then of course at scale, even 1/10 of a penny with hundreds of thousands of lookups can start to be something. So we'll see what that is. That's more of a phase 3 thing, but yeah, that's kind of I hope that wasn't too elaborate, but that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Yeah.
No, that works. So another one came through from Zorg, and I know you got to go. So if you want, we could make this the last question. He wants to know what makes that graph hard to game or cheaply replicate.
This is very easy to replicate because you're just, remember, this is a wild thing, guys. I know it's hard to wrap your mind around it, but all it is I sign for you, you sign for me. So anyone can do that. That's it. You know, they don't have to follow the web of trust. I'm just saying, if you want to join the SupraOS software, you have to go through the web of trust. And now to answer your other part, hard to game or not, these are the questions I want you guys, thank you for asking them, by the way. I want you to ask AI first. If AI can't answer it, bring it to me, because the paper took some time to write, and we try to account for all this stuff. Otherwise, there's no point to make this paper, right? And there's satisfactory answers to this, trust me. And yeah, I mean, basically, we should have resilience up to 33% of the participants, believe it or not. As long as the 67% of the participants are honest, we're in good shape. That's basically how the math works. So there is some really interesting math behind this. And just take your questions to AI. Now, the moment it's not answered by AI, then maybe we have a problem, and you should let me know and bring it to me, okay? Yeah, so please do, but ask AI first, yeah.
So when you say AI, Josh, are you referring to SupraOS agents directly, or do you mean taking the paper and plugging it into, my favorite AI, which might be Claude? I paste the paper into Claude and then I ask AI. Is that what you're referring to, or is it something else?
Yes. Yeah, put it to Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, just ask it to go to the site, read it, and ask your question about it. And if your answer is not good, if your questions are not answered well, or you see a gap in the protocol, please let me know. But I think probably 99% of your questions are going to be answered by AI. So I'm just encouraging you guys to do that exercise. Do that exercise. Don't ask me. I don't have infinite time,
Yeah, 100%. Well, Josh, there's a couple more. I'm not going to go through them all because we don't want to take up more of your time. It's 4 past the hour, wherever you guys are in the world. I know, Josh, I think you're still Southeast Asia, which puts you at like 4 minutes past 11 p.m. Josh, thank you so much, man. It has been another banger of a show. Really excited to see how this web of trust unfolds with regards to SupraOS. Can't wait to see SupraOS live. Obviously, guys, a couple of people have asked later on in the show here around what's happening with Supra EVM and Reverse Bridge. We answered that at the beginning of the show. Go back to YouTube, watch, and find out exactly how we are in terms of delivering Supra EVM and Reverse Bridge. It is very close. Reverse Bridge first, then EVM goes to mainnet. So we have a multi-VM network right here. And it's a peachy network, guys, because for the first time, you're going to have an L1 that has MoveVM and EVM on one network. And then down the road, next year, probably Solana VM as well is coming. Josh, any final comments before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would just say, guys, we're entering a really wild world, man, with AI. So get on the board. If you're get on board with it. I know that's not perfect. The world, by the way, the technology that we're building will it's built basically for you run it yourself, you run your local models yourself, end-to-end private. That's where we're headed towards. We're all gonna have a box of AI in our house pretty soon, and this is in that world, you need to have extremely good memory recall. Once again, if you look at supercognition.ai, we have our results there. It's among the highest in the world, and we report very honestly. We don't just say, if I report the highest score we ever got, it's higher than someone said, hey, but these guys got 64. I was like, yeah, but we got 65 if you just report 1. But what about their 10 run average or whatever, right? So we're still very good. And, frankly, we can optimize to take it further. We can keep on going, that's fine. But it's already a really good baseline. The world we're moving into is going to be local AI, great pristine recall, end-to-end privacy, or permission-based selective disclosure. So we're building a product for that. The interface, you guys really should not judge SupraOS by the interface, because that can change in a week. We can make it radically different. Some community members can be like, look at this, and they're going to do something sick and be like, hey, listen, can I get a copy of that too? You know, so it's going to be really radical, guys. Get on the AI bandwagon, you know, protect yourself, learn best practices. And by the way, the tools that we have are also going to help you save on your spend, your AI spend. So you can get more done for less. That's basically what it's about. Okay, I do gotta go, but yeah, James, thanks so much, and community, yeah, thanks everyone. We'll get this out to you very soon as well. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe less than that. Yeah.
Can't wait, man. Everybody's waiting. They're itching. Josh, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate that, folks.
Cheers.
Josh Tobkin, the CEO of Supra Labs, has done it again. SupraOS is on the way. About 2 weeks is what he's hoping for, but we will hang in there. Focus, of course, is getting Reverse Bridge out the door and then Supra EVM on the way. I do want to say this. Mr. Neil has a peachy comment over here. I like this one. He says, make Supra 100 million market cap, then you can make all the projects you like. We need adoption. We need adoption, adaptions. I think you mean adoption. I can tell you this: at the beginning of the show, we mentioned a potential new addition to the team, a CSO. That announcement will hopefully be made by that person soon. So we are working on that. Julio did want to ask about Bitpanda. From our understanding, everything is fine and safe on Bitpanda. There shouldn't be anything to be concerned about, so don't stress about that. We're going to leave it there. We're 8 minutes over the hour. Thanks so much for joining for another SUP episode, episode 82, done and dusted, folks. Thanks for tuning in. All the same questions always come through. Things like Reverse Bridge, EVM, etc., Super Liquid. We covered all of that in the show. Go back. If you're just tuning in, go back to the recording. My jacket has nothing to do with any kind of alpha leak. It is purely practical. I got given this 7 years ago. It is my warmest sweater, and it is freezing in South Africa, as you can see by my gloves. So that is why I'm wearing that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next week. Join us then. Keep the positivity. There's no point in being toxic. There's no point in being negative. Stay positive. Keep upbeat about what's going on, and be like Natronic. Shout out to you, Natronic, who's building on Synthwave Labs. He just keeps adding. He keeps building. Keep doing what the positive builders are doing, which is contribute to the ecosystem. That's what we need. Keep it up, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch you on X. Follow me, James Bond Salma, one word. You can follow Josh as well, Joshua Tobkin, one word, Joshua Tobkin. And of course, you can follow SupraOS AI. That's one word, SupraOS AI, for all the AI updates as they come out. And if you aren't following, which is very unlikely, Supra_Labs, the primary handle